What's up, my KG3 family? I just wanted to come and talk to y'all real quick this morning, and I wanted to do something just a little bit different. This morning, I wanted to be a little transparent. By being transparent, that means I'm going to kind of let you into my life. You know, some of y'all look at me and y'all think like, oh, she got it all together. She got all the right answers. She know what to say, and I don't. I don't always have the right answer. I don't always get it right. Not the perfect girlfriend. I'm not the perfect mother. I'm not the perfect daughter, anything, but one thing I can do is, and the reason why I get better is because I pray and I seek God, and I ask God a lot of times to reveal certain things to me about myself that I'm unable to see naturally. And so what I've decided to do is, Brian and I decided to start praying together. One thing I've learned in relationships is that even though you both may pray, when you pray individually, sometimes your prayers are a little different. You're asking for different things. So he could be asking for, you know, something over here, and I'm asking for something totally different. But when we pray together, we're verbally able to speak out loud what we're wanting or asking God for or to do. And one thing I've always said, anything that you say out loud, it has the ability to form. It has the ability to manifest. It can take existence. Your words take existence once they are released into the atmosphere. So, we actually prayed together last night. We had an incident where it was a big misunderstanding, and it just seemed like there was no resolution to it. Like, I wasn't going to get what I wanted. I wanted fast results from him. I wanted him to move how I wanted him to move, and that was just it. And because he wasn't doing it quick enough, I had a problem with it, a real big problem with it. And what I've learned is that we as women, sometimes we act and we speak out of emotions. And when speaking out of emotions, you don't think things through thoroughly. You're not really considering the other person's feelings. You're really just focused on what it is that you want or what you need at the time. So what we did was, I actually prayed over us last night, and I prayed for God to reveal to me how to speak to him, how to talk to him, what it is that he needs. And if I'm wrong in any area, to reveal me, correct me and reveal it to me. And just as I prayed, he did. A lot of times I want him to be much better. Not that he's not great. He's an awesome man. But certain areas, such as myself, we both have areas that could be worked on. And I would tell him about that a lot of times, and I would do it probably more than I should. And I realized that sometimes when you're constantly ridiculing or telling a person, even though I may look at it as constructive criticism and I'm helping you become better or a better person, I also have to understand that sometimes when you're trying to tell a person what's wrong with them, you do more damage than diligence. And I had to stand corrected. God revealed it to me. The same as if you spoke yesterday when I made the video for you guys, and I told y'all, take your hands off of it. If you trust God with it, take your hands off of it. Take your pinky off of it. If you're taking your hand, make sure your pinky's off of it too. Like, give it to God and let him handle it, because he has it. He's an all-knowing God. He knows what we need before we need it. And God had to really reveal it to me. Take your hands off my child. That's my son. Take your hands off of him as well. The same way you give me full access and control over your life, you're dating him, and that's my child. Take your hand off of him as well. Whatever it is that's wrong with him, it's not your duty to constantly ridicule him or tell him what's wrong with him. Your duty is to come to me and give it to me and allow me to fix him, because I created him. I knew what he needed before he needed you. I knew what he needed before he knew what he needed. So take your hand off my child, because you'll do more damage trying to fix him when I'm his creator. And in that moment, I had to stand corrected. And I think as women, that's the only true way to grow, is when you can understand your fault, when you can understand when you're not perfect, you don't always get it right. Even though there are times you could be dead on, you could real deal be right. It's not our place all the time to point out others' flaws and constantly tell them where they're lacking, what they're not doing, how they should do this and how they should. And even if we do, we should do it in love, in a way that they can receive it, in a way that they're not broken, they're not hurt, and they're not damaged. Because even if they don't tell us, your words have the ability to form. They have the ability to do more damage than a scar. You ever had a wound and it was wide open, and then sooner or later that wound healed? Well, words, when they take effect or they hit someone, those words have the ability to stay with that person for the rest of their life. And you want to make sure you're doing more diligence than damage. So just for my ladies, for those of you who are alpha females who sometimes you're more so used to taking the lead, and you finally find an alpha man who's a leader, it's okay to sit back and allow him to lead. It's okay to allow him to mess up, because one thing I know about God is that any man who is submitting to God, it's easier for you to submit to him. Make sure that the guy you're with, that you're forced, if you're forcing anything, force him to submit. Don't even force him, but at least try to lead him to Christ so that he can follow him, because God can fix him way better than you can. The things that you're stressing yourself out about, or you're pushing yourself to, to show him, or pushing him to see, trying to pull the wool from over his eyes, it's not your job for you to make him see it. And the way that you're trying to do it to make him see it, and you think it's easy, or that's the way or the route to do it, God is saying, baby, I can do it in such the simplest way, and he'll get it. And I had to see that this week. God began to reveal things to him that I was trying my best to force into his head. And I just sat back and I literally gave that to him, and he showed him exactly what I needed him to see. So we have to learn to do the same in every aspect. I don't care what it is. I don't care if he leaves the toilet seat up. That's not my issue. But for somebody who may be dealing with that, I don't care if he's not a communicator, whatever the situation is, it's not your duty to point out his flaws 24/7. But more so be uplifting. Say things in a loving way. When you decide to tell a person about themselves, do it with love. I've always said the only thing that can drive out hate is love. The only power or force that's strong enough to drive out hate is love. Fight it with love and give it to God. If what you're saying is not working and the situation is not getting any better, at that point, give it to the person who is the creator of all things, the person who has all power in his hands. So I'm just giving y'all a little transparent moment, letting y'all in on my life a little bit. I hope that bless someone. I hope it'll help someone who has been having problems or the hardest time just taking things in. Sometimes the problem is you as well. You're not women. We're not always the one that's right. But be careful when you're speaking over your partner, your mate, your spouse. Make sure that your words are doing more diligence than damage. Make sure that you're uplifting your partner, that you're speaking into your partner daily. You're reminding them of the good as well as when you're pointing out their flaws. But as I always tell y'all, KG3 is not just a movement, it's a lifestyle. So when I'm telling y'all, I'm talking to myself too. But as I tell y'all all the time, keep going, keep growing, and keep glowing. KG3, I'm out.